Hey, today we're sitting with Ann Edwards. Ann serves in Goodness Gracious and is here to share about how she is involved in the ministry of this church. Ann, tell us how you got involved at Myers Park United Methodist.
I joined Myers Park Methodist Church with my husband in 1978. I grew up a Presbyterian and he grew up a Baptist, so we compromised and joined the Methodist Church. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful thing for both of us to learn about the Methodist Church and to be a part of this church.
So, longtime member, when did you begin serving in ministries within the church?
Well, when we joined in 1978, I was working, so I didn't have as much time. But after our daughter was born, I began to volunteer more. I worked at the preschool for 11 years. I was chairman of the preschool board. I have been in UMW. I'm in a circle. I'm in a Bible study. I help Linda Edwardson count the money. I recruit care teams. I've done a lot to help Susan Mobley. And I did Wired for Ministry, and that really changed my perspective on what I could do and couldn't do. And it gave me the opportunity to say no when I didn't feel like I fit. And now that I know what my gifts are, I try to work within those parameters.
Excellent. Yeah, sometimes saying no frees us up to say yes to
It does.
other things, the things that we're really called to. You've been serving in Goodness Gracious for a while.
Since the shop opened.
And that was in what year?
I think 2005.
2005.
I think.
And been there since.
I started off just as a volunteer, and then they asked me to buy the books, and I did that for 5 years. And then I decided that was a little more than I could handle, so I passed the baton to someone else. But I'm kind of a volunteer that plugs in when they need someone. When the calendar comes out and there are holes, I try to fill in where they need it.
So what called you into Goodness Gracious? Why did you settle in there as the place to serve?
A lot of the people that started it are my good friends and have been my good friends in this church for 30 years, and we've raised children together. And I just felt like it would be a good place to be with them and to meet new people. And I think it's a wonderful ministry in this church. It does a lot for me to meet new people. It also, the fact that we raise money for missions and give money away, is guilt-free shopping.
Guilt-free shopping. Tell us about how the money is raised for missions. How does that work? How much do we raise?
Well, we have a budget every year, and we have great buyers who go to market, and we set a budget for what we want to sell. And of course, we're all volunteer, so we don't have to pay anybody anything. And so I think it's twice a year, we have a committee and we meet, and we have different ministers recommend areas that we can give, and we sit and talk about it, and then we decide that we're going to give so much away. We keep a list in the shop of all the places that we've given money to. We do local, we also do world as well. We've bought everything from malaria nets to fences for playgrounds, just lots of different things.
It's so exciting.
It is.
Very exciting to know the impact that we have in such a small way. For people who come in and shop, they definitely have the opportunity to buy all kinds of things. Where do those come from?
Well, we have a group of women who go to Atlanta twice a year to a market, and they're very gifted at this. They go there and they buy, and they go in July and buy Christmas. After Christmas, they'll go and buy spring. And it really is, it takes a gifted person to go and know how much to buy and what's going to sell and what's not going to sell. We are pretty closed about doing things that are spiritual. We want to have a lot of things in there that are spiritual, like holding crosses, and Christmas is our biggest time to really work hard and sell as much as we can. Summers are slow.
What are some of the successes of Goodness Gracious that we may or may not know about?
Well, I think probably one of the greatest successes is bringing together a group of people who are totally devoted and dedicated to that shop, and to see that it's successful, that the money's raised, and that the money goes to the place it needs to go. And I think one of my favorite things is getting to know people that I don't know and working with them.
Sure. I imagine you meet a lot of the congregation.
Oh yeah, a lot of the congregation. And we have a good bit of business that comes that are not members of our church. They hear about it, and they come, or a friend tells them about it, and they come one time and see how great it is, and so they tell their friends and they come back.
So it's not just missions, but also opportunities for outreach and fellowship, and it's fantastic. What are some of the things that you've learned along the way? Maybe you would have done differently had you known ahead of time, or?
Well, I guess some of it is just trial and error. When we started out, we did have a manager, and then we realized over time that we could do it on our own. And sometimes that's difficult when it's an all-volunteer force.
Sure.
And the computer goes wrong, or something happens, and we have to call Ron or Linda or somebody to come help. I think we've gone through several computers. We've moved the shop around a lot. We had it had the cash register in a whole different area for a while, and we learned that you couldn't see when you came in.
Right.
So we've moved it. So over time, just experience and being aware when you go in other shops, how they're set up, how they work. I think the most important thing is being friendly and open and kind to whoever comes in there.
Sure. Is there anything else you'd like to share about your experience?
Well, I just think it's a wonderful place to work, and I encourage anybody who has any free time that would like to come and volunteer. We have a woman who coordinates all the volunteers every month, and that's a huge job. So you can visit the shop, call the shop, and they'll be glad to take anybody that wants to volunteer.
Fantastic. Thanks for taking some time to share your story today.
Glad to do it.